Please help me reach 1,500 subscribers. People often ask me where everything went wrong and I never have a simple answer. Maybe it didn't begin that night at all. Maybe it started long before, hidden beneath laughter, clinking glasses, and soft music glowing under strings of fairy lights. Or maybe it began the moment I mistook being noticed for being truly loved. My name is Clara, and that evening taught me how expensive arrogance can be. Ethan, my husband, was never the loudest presence in a room. He was calm, grounded, and deliberate, steady in ways I once found reassuring but later came to resent. When we attended gatherings, he stayed quietly to the side while I thrived in the spotlight, telling stories, drawing laughs, feeding off attention. He used to admire that about me. He said I brought warmth wherever I went, that I made silence feel alive. But over time, I twisted his calm into something ugly in my mind. His quiet became distance. His patience felt like disapproval. I convinced myself he was holding me back. So when our neighbor Liam, confident, charming, effortlessly bold, struck up a conversation with me at a party, I leaned into it far too easily. He was everything Ethan wasn't: flashy, flirtatious, exciting. Or at least that's what I told myself. Across the room Ethan watched. I avoided his eyes and laughed louder, stood closer to Liam than necessary, let my fingers brush his hand when they didn't need to. When Ethan finally walked over, his voice was low but steady. "Clara, that's enough." I smirked, careless and defiant. "Enough of what?" I replied, loud enough for others to hear. The mood shifted instantly. Conversations faltered. Ethan's jaw tightened. "We're leaving," he said quietly. I rolled my eyes and fired back something cruel, something meant to wound. "Maybe if you knew how to enjoy yourself, I wouldn't need someone else to keep me entertained." Liam stepped away, embarrassed, mumbling an excuse as he disappeared. The moment shattered. Ethan didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He simply nodded, turned, and walked out. I stayed behind, pretending I didn't care, even as my chest thudded painfully. I assumed he'd cool off. He always did. But when I got home later that night, the house was dark. Silent. On the kitchen counter sat my phone, my wallet, and a folded piece of paper. "You said you wanted freedom, Clara. Now you have it." At first I laughed nervously. Ethan had left before, but never like this. I tried calling him. No signal. The Wi-Fi password no longer worked. My bank cards were declined. It felt as though I had been erased from the life we shared. I didn't sleep. I paced, replaying every word, every laugh, every glance. What once felt thrilling now echoed like mockery. By morning, panic set in. I drove to his office, to his friends' homes. No one had heard from him. When I returned, the locks had been changed. My belongings were stuffed into black bags on the porch. A note rested on top. "Please don't cause a scene. My lawyer will be in touch." That single word, lawyer, hit harder than any argument ever had. This wasn't anger. This was final. 4 days I stayed with a coworker, telling myself it was temporary. Just space. Just time. But when the legal papers arrived, cold, precise, merciless, I couldn't lie anymore. Ethan wanted a divorce. No conversations. No bargaining. Just an ending. In his letter, one line destroyed me. "I loved you more than my ego, but you forced me to choose between dignity and humiliation." This time I chose myself. Only then did I understand. How often I had pushed him. How easily I mistook patience for weakness. He hadn't left suddenly. He had endured quietly until there was nothing left to save. I wasn't angry. I was terrified. The weeks that followed blurred together. The pride I once wore like armor became a weight around my neck. Every sound in the house reminded me of him. The coffee brewing in the morning, the faint creak of the floorboards, the music humming from the garage. I had called his steadiness boring. Now the silence felt unbearable. I tried reaching out. Messages. Emails. Even a handwritten letter delivered through his attorney. Nothing. Ethan had closed the door completely. I hoped he'd see my mistake as foolishness, not cruelty, but maybe the two aren't so different. The final hearing came quickly. Ethan didn't look at me. His face held no anger, no sadness, just peace. When the judge signed the papers, something inside me emptied out. Outside, the world looked the same. But I wasn't. I had no home, no partner, no direction. Only the freedom I once thought I wanted. It didn't feel like freedom. It felt like exile. Months later, I heard from a mutual friend that Ethan had moved away, started a business, and seemed lighter. Happier. I smiled through the ache. Maybe he finally found the calm I shattered. As for me, I learned the truth far too late. That night wasn't harmless flirting. It was ego dressed up as playfulness. A test disguised as fun. Love isn't something you provoke or measure. It's something you protect. I didn't lose Ethan because he stopped loving me. I lost him because I stopped valuing what I had. While he chose peace, I was left with the emptiness I created. Pride, I learned, can cost you everything you thought was unbreakable.